Those of you who know Lakeland will recognise this bridge immediately as the one in Grange, Grange in Borrowdale. Today's objective is Castle Crag, and if you were to take all the fells that Alfred Wainwright wrote about in all his 7 pictorial guides and listed them in order of height, this one is at the bottom of the list, but it's still worth climbing. The path here just forks. To the right it goes round the side of Castle Crag and up towards Honister. And if you ever want to walk that way, it's a good way to go, away from the traffic and the noise. But I'm going to the left, alongside the river, because I'm going visiting. Castle Crag, of course, very aptly named. It was a hill fort at one stage. Whether it was Romano-British or whether it was Iron Age is of little consequence, because it was a fort. When I say visiting, this is a place I would have liked to have visited when the inhabitant was here. His name was Milican Dalton. Strange name, but in some families it's quite usual to give the second child the mother's maiden name as their first name, hence Milican Dalton. He lived here in this cave for every summer for goodness knows how many years. This was his bedroom. He called it the attic. He made his own clothes, he made tents, he made rucksacks. He did all sorts of things. A.H. Griffin knew him quite well. A.H. Griffin being the columnist in The Guardian. But this inscription on his bedroom wall sums him up perfectly. And it says, "Don't waste words, jump to conclusions." That's wonderful. He must have been an amazing man. He was, in his own words, a self-styled professor of adventure. He would take people climbing, he would take them sailing, he built rafts, he would shoot the rapids of the Derwent on a raft. He had a second raft which had a sail and had buoyancy from a number of beer barrels lashed to it. His life and mine coincided, but by only a few months. In the winter of 46, 47, I have pictures of me being wheeled out in my pram, where the snow comes right up the side of the pram. It's so deep. And it was in that winter that Milican Dalton had a fire in his hut in the south of England and had to take to living in a tent. And it was there he caught the illnesses that eventually killed him. These heaps here are the spoil from the quarries just over to the left there. You wonder how much good slate they took out to make all this spoil. It must have been on a day like this when the good people of the end of this valley, Borrowdale, decided that we wanted to keep springtime here. And the way they proposed to do it was to keep the cuckoo. If the cuckoo stayed, so would spring. And so they built a wall across the valley, side to side, in the hope that the cuckoo would stay. But the cuckoo flew over the top, and autumn and winter arrived. This doesn't say much about the mentality of the people of this valley, but I like it as a story. The day has improved considerably, and that has brought the people out. So the summit of Castle Crag is well populated at present, and the views are superb as always. Skidder out there, Skidder Little Man, the ridge that runs down towards Ullock Pike, Glencastra across there. On this side, Waller Crag, Bleabury Fell, High Seat, King's How just very close by, part of Grange Fell. Behind me, the Scorefell Range, Sergeant Crag, Eagle Crag, High Raise. Moving round, you can see Ulscarf. But on the top here is a war memorial to men who've died in the Great War. The top of Scorefell Pike was given to the National Trust as a perpetual memory to the men of Lakeland who fell in the Great War. This one here, which is dedicated to John Hamer, was put here by a group of friends, and it's in memory of him and all the other men of Borrowdale who died. A few years later, 1923 I believe, the Fell and Rock Climbing Club gave another 12 summits as a memorial to their members who died. And for some years, the members of the Fell and Rock Climbing Club used to go and visit each of those 12 summits as a circuit. Nowadays, there's a group of fell runners who try to visit all 14 as an event. It's almost 100 years since the signing of the peace treaty, and it's appropriate that perhaps we do remember these things. As well as there being a memorial up here, there's also a splendid cairn, or there was in 1963 when Alfred Wainwright came here and drew a picture of it. It's in his guidebook, of course. The one that exists now is only a shadow of the former one that was there. But on the right hand side, if you look carefully, you can still see the remnants of that original structure. Wainwright also classified this part of the world as one of the prettiest square miles in the whole of Lakeland. He did list others, but this one he considered the prettiest. And yet it's named the Jaws of Borrowdale. Does sound a little forbidding, but it is truly one of the prettiest parts of the Lake District.